Hello, welcome to Gmail Basics. I am Holly Rader. I work for the Chester County Independent. Writing, I do photography, as well as some of the general layout. I'm involved in quite a bit of the newspaper, so that's who I am. And let's get started. Well, okay. So when you're setting up a new Gmail account, you're going to want to go to whatever browser you use, whether it's Google, Foxfire, Internet Explorer, Safari. There's lots of them out there, whichever one that you enjoy using. You're going to go to or search for create Gmail, and you see, lots of options come up down here. So we're going to say create Gmail account. Follow the signs and the directions. Okay, so to start out, you may come to this page, or you may instead see one like it may instead look like this. Either one you can get there from either one. One thing with computers, and I've said it before, it's in other classes. It used to be where you could push one button and crash your whole computer. It's not like that anymore. If you are not familiar with your computer, if you're not familiar with the different applications or programs, you can just get in there and play. Click around on the different topics, the different headings, and see what, of course, these are set up for, personal use, but you can go in, and I'll show you more what I mean when we get into the account, but go in and explore, see what you can find out. A lot of times you can answer questions by, just kind of looking into it yourself. And when in doubt, you can always research it. Look up, how do I XYZ, something along those lines. Okay, so moving on, create your Google account. And my little video thing keeps popping up at the top. All right. So if I were going to create one for myself, type in my name, and then let's say I want to use Holly Rader at Gmail. Now see, when I click off, it says that username is taken. So someone else, another Holly Rader, has that email account already. But it gives you options down here. Holly Rader 92, Rotor Holly 05, Holly Rader 0. So, I can choose one of those if I like, or I can think up something else. And, you can play around, find something that you like to be your email. Some people don't like to use their names, and that's fine. You can use a nickname or something that you like. I've known people that use like a movie name or something that they enjoy, something they collect, or a favorite, one of something for their Gmail account. So really, you can be creative and use whatever you want to be. And so that's what you will see when people ask, what is your Gmail account? Or what's your email account? That's what you're going to see is like for mine, the Holly Rader, whatever. So let's go ahead and just pick Holly Rader 0, because why not? Then I've got to come up with a password, and let's see. Let's do, and we're going to click this little icon. That way you can see what I'm packing. Let's do Password. Okay. So a note on passwords. Don't use password. Don't use common, everyday, pets' names, um, dates, or things that other people know really well. You don't want your password to be easily guessed for this. I'm going to delete this account, right after we finish with the class, because it's just for learning. So that's why I'm going to do something generic. But in general, you want to use something else. Some people, for a password, they will take the first line of their favorite song and do the first letter of each word, or a phone number they had when they were a kid, or a combination. Of course, you see down here, it says you've got to use 8 or more characters with a mix of letters, numbers, and symbols. So you've got to have, several different things going on. You can use a combination of different things to come up with your password. And then your computer is probably going to ask you if you want to save that. If it's your personal computer, you can save that in your Google account or in your Apple account, or whatever if you have a password wizard, it'll save that password for you so that you don't have to, and you can get a little bit more creative if that's the case. It is a good idea to go ahead and write it down just so you don't forget it. So for this class, we're going to do password 1 and a star, so that we have a combination. And that's 8 or more characters, letters, number, symbol. Okay. So, and you notice it was caps, so I'm going to do caps again. And let's see if it works. All right. Yeah, so see, Firefox asked, would I like to save that password? Why is there a 0 after? Oh, yeah. I forgot what the email was. Okay, so I'm going to say, go ahead and save that. So when I come back to it, I can find it. Now, when you're setting up, you're going to want to be able to get back into the account if you do forget your password. If for some reason you get locked out, there are ways that you can put information in so that you can come back to it. You can put your phone number, and if you're locked out, your Google will send a message to your phone, to your messaging, with a code that will help you unlock it if you're locked out. You can also put your email from a separate email, and then that's another option. They'll send a message to that, and you can go through your other email to get in. They want your birthday. I want to say it's not going to let me just go through, but let's try and see what happens if I charge. Okay, so it does want all of that. Let's say January. Hello. See, I'm not reading the directions. It's asking for the day. Let's say the 1st of January. What year should we say? Let's say 1970, just for fun. I don't see that it matters there. So moving on. Of course, they want you to read through all of this. I already have, well, goodness. I already have a Google account, so but this is just the information about your privacy policy, their privacy policy, terms, all that good stuff. All right, so here's my page. From here, and that clicked, we weren't quite ready for that. From here, you can do a lot. And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. go on into these and explore and see what options you have. This is where I can go in and change my password. If I needed to change my date of birth, or go down here and add that phone number if I decided that I really wish I had, I can go in here and change that. This is where you can, choose your personal information that others may see if you go into like the Hangout area or some of the boards where kind of like messaging boards. Data and personalization. Take the privacy checkup. So that's another area you can go in and check to see what your privacy settings are. Activity controls. You can check your history. Delete it if you want to. Go back and see where a page was that you had watched before and you couldn't find. Add personalization. This is on, so that means it's going to try to pick up things that it's noticed that I pay attention to. Of course, this is all just in Google. It's not necessarily in Gmail, but activity, timeline, things you create and do. And that's kind of interesting to go in and look at sometime when you're just exploring. Account storage, this is going to tell me how much I have saved here. They give you 15 gigs or gigabytes. And making a plan for when your account is deleted, when you want your account deleted, what would happen to the data, would it go somewhere else, would it just disappear into space, and preferences for the web, reservations, business features. So there's lots of different options there. Another security, this is where you would go in to personalize or check your security options. Again, about, more password. This gives you an option to sign in with your phone. Two-step verification if you want to make sure that it checks, two different ways before letting you sign in. Again, about the recovery. Recent activity. You can see where it signed in, what time. So if there's ever a question that you feel like someone else has been in your account, you can check to see if there's a sign in at a time that you had not been on. All right. Password manager, that's kind of what I was saying earlier. If you have the, whatever, place to save your passwords, that would be where you would go and look at them. People and sharing. Contacts. This is brand new, so I don't have contacts yet. Save contacts when you informate. Yeah, I do. So I'm clicking on here. Contact info saved from interactions. So if somebody sends me an email or, I have that contact or that interaction, then their contact information is automatically going to be saved. So that would be helpful. Contact info from your devices. So then if you wanted to go into that, you could move all of your contacts over from like your phone. And that would be anybody that you've blocked. Location sharing, what others see. Recommendations and ads. Yeah, that's as far as there. Payments and subscriptions. This would be where you would check where you have your card saved or a payment method saved. Things, purchases, subscriptions, reservations. Okay, moving on. Let's see, we are going to go on into over on this side. if you do have, just note, more than one account, you can go up here and choose to toggle between different accounts. If you have like a personal one and a work, you can go there and then go down and say, click on that one and go to a different, like that would be my work one. So let's see. I think that's the right one. Got a couple extra ones going for, that's the one we need for us to use for learning today. I have a couple extra set up, so I'm going to make sure I'm on the right one. Okay, this is the one we've just created. We're going to go over to this little icon, and this has all of your Google apps. There's lots of things to explore here too. So you can go down through there and check them out anytime you like. For today, we are going to go to Gmail right here. So click on your Gmail. And here you see we have a brand new box with, let's see, thanks, we don't need to meet right now. Okay. So everything's brand new. You have one email from Google. Congratulations, you have a new email account. We are going to swap over to one that I created yesterday for this class. Okay. So we're going to say it's brand new. I've given out my email to a couple of different people. Guess what? It's all me. So I have lots of emails, or not lots, but I have several emails from different accounts. It's not completely clear that they are. But let's customize our email first before we get into that too much. We have this box, so if I want to customize my inbox, let's see what that's about. See over here, it gives us the different options. If we want to change the way that it's going to look when they come in, that's kind of, just gives you a different look to the way. The themes you can change. And so let's see. Lots of different options, different pictures. These, I believe, are going to be we're going to say that's it. All right. So now see, it's your background behind everything. I'm not sure if that's totally easy for you to see though. So we're going to go back to the plain one. So I believe it's a bit easier to see what's in front of it. Okay, so inbox, you can line them up to your important emails to show up first. Your unread, and I'll show you. See, I've got a couple of them here that I've read or I've opened. Let's open another one. And so let's click the unread first. Now see, automatically it moved all of our unread emails up to the top. If you want to make sure, or if there's a certain, starred email, you can click a star on it if you read it and you want to be sure and remember it, be able to come back to it. I wanted to say, make sure that I watch that, or I can find it later, and I can click starred first and it comes up for the top. Same thing with the priority, the important. There's a lot of different things that you can do. Reading pane, you can either have unsplit. This is what it would look like. Okay, well, we won't reload it right now. But you can see, just changes the look of it. So play around with that when you're setting it up and find what works for you, what you like the most. We're going to go back to default, just the regular as they come in. But find what you like, what works for you. So we'll X out of that. Change profile image. Let's see. So here you can either go online and find a photo that you want. Go to your own photos. What? No, I have a photo. Oh, there we go. Here's what we need to do. So we're going to go find a photo that we like. I'm going to go to desktop, to library. This is where I have everything saved for this. And let's say I want to use my puppy dog for my profile photo. Of course, that's going to take a few moments. While that's loading, we'll talk another time about photos and about what photos you have permission to use. If you go online to, like if you go onto Google and do an image search for something, there's a lot of photos that are going to come up. You don't necessarily have permission. Just because they're on there doesn't mean that they're free to use. It's kind of confusing sometimes, but there is a way to do an advanced search and go in and find photos that you can use, change, edit the look of it, use it for different purposes, and just to make sure that you're not using something you don't have permission. It's always a good idea to check there first. And again, we'll talk about that another time in a photo class. For now, I've almost talked long enough, but it's not quite there. We're almost there. So hopefully what this is going to do is give me an option to change the size and the shape of the picture. There we go. So let's say we want to put her pretty picture right here. I'm going to take it in just a little bit. And of course, if it were, if the photo were a different scale, we could always do that. So this is the way we want to do. We're going to say set profile picture. And so that's what's going to show up as my profile picture if someone sees the profile. Import contacts and mail. So I'm going to go ahead from here and import, let's say, from my newspaper account. And that's hroeder at magicvalleypublishing.com. Magic Valley Publishing. Password for Magic. Oh, goodness. Let's see. Magic Valley Publishing owns Chester County Independent. They are our parent company, and they own several different. Let's see. Share your password. Oh, no. It may not allow me to. So that may, let's see, wrong place. There we go. Okay, well, for whatever reason, that's not letting me do it right at the moment. So I may have the password wrong in my mind. But you would be able to go in there, sign in, and have all of your contacts rolled over to the new email so that you're starting with everything you need. Get Gmail for mobile, you would click on that and get the app for your phone or your tablet or whatever for. Okay, so as they come in, these three headings, your primary is going to be most everything that comes in. Social, well, I couldn't click. This would be emails that are from more social type. It might be Twitter, it might be LinkedIn, Facebook, things, more of the social sites. Promotions, that would be from stores that you shop at or websites where you shop, and that would be where those emails would come in. So it automatically should separate those. If it starts coming in and they're not quite right, you can adjust that. So now we have, let's move down. We have several emails, and we may want to save some of these instead of just deleting them, or maybe we just want to delete them. This one I don't necessarily want, so I can either go into it. Oh, wrong one. I made my cursor big so you guys could see it, and it's almost too big for me to use. Okay, so I don't need this one. I'm going to, well, let's do this real quick. This nifty email, just the welcome email, will come in first. And go ahead and click try it. It will go through and show you some different, like it says, products, apps, services, tips on how to use everything. If you're not familiar with it, go ahead and go through that. That will give you lots of answers and get you set up to learning more. So we're going to go ahead and delete this. I don't necessarily need it. This one I couldn't find. I couldn't remember my password, so I had to go through, and thankfully I had my phone number in. So I had to recover the email, but I don't need that either. So I can delete that. This one reminding me that my password was changed. I'm going to delete that one. Okay. Over here, well, at the top, you'll see when you click on it, it says main menu. And all that does is remove the words there to give you a larger screen over here. So you still have the icons, you can still go to what you need. But if you want to see them, they're right there. You have a toggle bar here to see all the different options. These are all your folders where your mail will go. If you star something, it's going to show up in the starred. You can snooze something to see it later. This will be any emails that are sent. I haven't sent any emails yet. Drafts, if you begin an email but you don't send it, it will save it in the drafts for you to come back to later. Let's click more so we can see the rest. Important emails. That would be, let's go back to inbox so we can see everything. We're trying to end our meeting, but let's see. I get too excited in all of this. Okay, I had to go and check my time. I get too excited when I start looking at everything and sharing and talking about different options, and then I forget how much time I have. So I had to check our time, and we're doing fine. Again, moving on down the line. Let's say this one. We're going to go in here to this email, and we're going to label it. Maybe that's not what we want to do just yet. Yeah, I think we'll come back to that. So over here, down at the bottom, important, chats, scheduled, all mail. So that would be all of it combined. Spam, because you will get spam. And your computer or Gmail automatically will put some things in spam, but it might not always be correct. So go in there and check. Delete if, when you see things that are definitely not for you. If you see something in there that should have come to you, you can click on it and say move to, I don't know if you saw at the top, the option here is move to. You can't see it over the hand, but it says move to. And so I could move that to a different, if I wanted to move it to social, updates, forums, promotions. Now, if something, on the other hand, if something comes into your regular inbox that is spam, you can also move that to spam or move it to trash or, whatever. I don't actually want to move that at this moment, so we will keep going. So trash categories, let's see. Categories are social, updates, forums, and promotions. Again, you can go in and separate all of your email into these different categories, and it'll be easier for you to find things later. If I have, let me back up to inbox, all of my emails. So I have 4 emails there. If I need to save these, but I want to clear out the inbox so that it doesn't get full and unable to go through easily, I can create a new label. And we'll say Huckleberry for one. And let's make another one that says, Paint Schroeder and CCI for Chester County Independent. All right. We can either, we can take it and drag it over to, see, did you notice how if you go up and down, it will swing those so that you can see all of them. So we're going to go up here and put it in Huckleberry. And for these 3, we're going to move them, but we're going to click all of them so that I can just drag them over once and move them to my newspaper. So you can make different labels, different folders, however you like, and give them new names, new labels to sort your email, whatever works for you. Let's go in here and look at one. See, I made some very clever emails to myself checking in. When you open a new email, and by the way, you'll notice that it shows the label of the folder that I have moved this email to. But you have options. I can remove the label. I can report spam. Oops, something there. I can delete it, mark as read, snooze, so that it'll pop up later. Add to tasks. If it's an event that I need to remember, if there's some kind of date with it that I need to remember, I can add that there. Move it to another folder or give it another label. Also on this page, you'll notice, of course, this will go back and forth, newer and older within that same file. So see, that would go to the one that was right before that. So there are 2 of 2 for that in that folder, which is, again, the subset folder under the whole inbox of the H. Roeder at CCI ones. Oh. Well, I'm apparently trying to drag him all over the place, and it won't let go. Okay. Let's see. Select input tool. So we can change up some things here. Your keyboard, and it looks like maybe English. So the order, that kind of thing. I'm not sure why it's still trying to hang on there. It's still doing it. Okay. Over here, you'll see there's the little printer icon. If you have an email that comes in that you want to save or you need to print out, you can print that there. This little icon says you can open it in a new window. So we'll see. I'll show you what that does. Apparently my computer won't allow that pop-up. If it did, it would just open it in a separate page, just like that, on a different window. Okay. So within the body of the email itself, you'll find the name, the contact, the address, their email address, date, time, tells you when I came in. Here's another option to star it. You can, of course, that says it's not starred. There's an arrow that says reply, even though you can't see it. I don't know if you can see the little button at the top for my recorder, but it won't go away. Okay, and I couldn't see part of the page. So then you have other options here: reply, forward, filter, print, delete, block. If I was sending too many messages to myself that I didn't want, I could block myself or whoever, report spam, report phishing, show original, translate the message, download the message, or mark as unread. There's lots of options there you can do. On over here, if you noticed when I scrolled over the name, it popped up this little box. So you can go in here and say edit contact, or you can click on this little icon and it will send an email back to that person. That's not a reply email, but a whole new email. So if you want to send an email to them, but you don't want it to be necessarily in reference to the email that they just sent, or if it needs to be an entirely different topic, then you can click there and go to send email. Schedule an event. Send a message. Or start a video call. You can go into edit contact. And here we can do, if it didn't have, if their email address isn't their name, then you can go in here and put their name in. Company, job title, email address. If, they have a label, their phone, other notes, things you might want to include. And then this is where their Google profile would show up. So you can do all of these things. And let's say I did want to add a label there. And it won't let me, so when in doubt, start clicking on it. No, don't click on everything, but you can scroll over and it tells you, okay, this is one that if this person is a star, I can star the contact. So any emails or any messages or emails that come in from this person would have a star and therefore could be at the top of your inbox. If you remember how we talked about changing the way that the emails look when they come in. Here we're going to go to edit, because let's say I did want to put a job title. Here, of course, could be homework. This is my work. So I'm going to change that and hit save. And now it still doesn't show up right there. Not entirely sure why it's not showing up. There's more options. Oh, I didn't mean to hide it. Print, export, delete. And letting me hit things that I don't necessarily want. We're going to go ahead and close that. So we're going to go back to mail that and see if my contacts have changed. I don't know why we now have this little thing in the middle of the computer. Generally, that will not be there. It's just some kind of glitch. And if you don't see it and you on your side and you think I've completely gone crazy, that could also be happening. This has been an adventure creating this class with this video. If you have never done it, you should try one just for the fun of trying to set everything up and make sure you have everything together. And of course, this is the first one, so I apologize for some of the craziness along with it. I definitely have enjoyed it, but I've had lots of challenges getting to this point. From here on out, I feel like it's going to go much smoother because after the first one, it always seems to be easier. So let's see where we were. Go back to one of these, and that's where we talked about changing contacts, adding to contacts. Oh, this is an entirely different email. It's all right. Okay, we'll try one more time. Add to contacts. And now it says edit contact. So see, it went ahead and added that. So let's say, moving on, let's say I wanted to send an email to that person. Then I could just start typing, and it's automatically going to pop up. Now, eventually there may be more than one, with that same letter, but you'd be able to scroll through and pick the email that you want. And so I went ahead and closed that because I really didn't want it right now. I'm going to run down through here real quick to see the others. Our time is getting short at this point. Here you can start a meeting, join a meeting, Hangouts, kind of like a messaging area. Here, kind of like on Facebook where you can share a status. I said always learning, and see there's my little profile picture of my dog. You can go through personalization and choose what shows up down here. the different people, I sent a message to myself on the other email and suggested that we make a connection. So there's an email, and it wasn't there earlier. So let's go here. Let's say I wanted, of course, I don't have very many contacts yet, but you can add contacts, add other people. It'll send a message to them if they're not using the Google Hangouts program or application, and you can send messages. So then there's one where, like I said, I had invited, and so then this was a reply from that invitation. But you'll have the ability to scroll down through here, and it's kind of like an instant messaging chatting area. But you can also make contacts and schedule events and get in touch with people different ways there. Last thing that we are going to cover today. The last thing that we are going to cover today is the actual process of sending an email. In order to send a video, I'm going to scroll your little cursor over to Compose. Click on Compose, and a window will pop up. You can change the way that this window looks. If you start something and you need to go back and maybe read another email, you can minimize it, and it will go down here, that little flat line. You can click it back up and it'll open. Or you can click on the arrows and make it a big screen if you have, more you need to work on. Always, there are little helpful messages that pop up. Okay. If you don't click the, or write in a to the recipient of your email, of course it won't send. It'll remind you at the end. Some people like to wait until the end to write it so that they don't accidentally send it too soon. Some people like to do it before. It's just whatever you are comfortable with or what you decide to do. I'm going to go ahead and email one to myself. You can CC it. That would be sending it to a second person, kind of like if you want the email to go to more than one person, or you can do a BCC, which is a blind copy. We don't want to do either of those. Subject. It will send without a subject, but it's a good idea always to put something there. For this, we'll say just going to write something there. We're going to pretend to write one real quick. Okay. You may notice my typing is not perfect. The first thing is, look, I have a misspelled word. It will underline things that are obviously misspelled, things that it thinks you have wrong, and you can click on that and decide whether or not to use. So yes, that's what we wanted to use. We will click on it and it changes it. You have lots of options within your email of changing the way things look. Again, with the little helpful comments, they'll pop up to help you here and there. If you want to change, and actually for this part, we are going to move it up to the larger one because you can see more of your options. If you want to change your font, you'll have to select it in order to change it. Change your font, change the size. If you want to bold, italicize, underline, give it colors. Maybe we want to make the background color blue. How about that? And I would have thought that would change the background. You can change the justification, whether you want it left justified, centered, or right. So those give you the little ideas for the aligning it. You can do numbers, bullets, indents, your quotes. Here's your undo and do again options. And hang on. We are going to go back over here and change that because now it's hard to see. And when in doubt, because it looks odd, we went back to the beginning. And then we'll step up to what we wanted to do. Okay. Okay, so it looks like this is unhighlighted. I know it looks odd, but this is highlighted. And the difference is that we changed the background color and the foreground, or the text rather. So if we did that, it went back to where it looked a little bit more normal to us. Anyway, once we have the body or the writing, the text, the way that we want it to look, you can go to attachments if you want to put a photo in. Let's say we wanted to include another picture of my dog. You can either click on that and open it. Let's open that back up. And you see it's adding it as an attachment right there. Another option in order to add an attachment is to click the same insert button. I don't need you right now. To click that insert button. And if this isn't where you want to find your photo from, you can change to different folders, or if it's a photo online you're trying to find, you can go to different locations to find that photo. So the first way, you can click on it and hit open. You can also click on it, left click, and then drag it down. And the photo will add there. It'll take a moment to load. Another option, say we wanted to attach something else, not a photo. If we wanted to attach a document, you can do it the same way. You can hit the paperclip icon, you can either double click on it, drag it, or click on it and hit open. And there's still another option if you want to add photos or whatever kind of attachment. Let's say you have an email from someone else, and in that email is a document or a photo that you want to send to someone else. You can either save that photo to one of your folders and then be able to go through the same procedure we just did with the paperclip icon, or you can go over here and click on it and just drag it across, and it puts it right over there for you. You can also do that with documents. See, I have a document right here, so you can do the same way. Just drag it over. You also have the option at the bottom to include a link, insert an emoji, insert files, photos, and that's the same thing we just did. This is just a whole different way to do it. And confidential mode. And then insert, I can't see a signature. You can go in to manage signatures. And we just minimized that so that we could see the background. Just wanted to show you. When I hit manage signatures, it opened to this page. And this is where you can go in and create a signature. So at the end of an email, or of every email, it would say, if you wanted to have your name, your address, if it's business, your title, contact information, you would include all of that here. So we could say, I scrolled too much. We could say create new. So it's gonna say Holly Rader at the end of every one. For new emails, and you can go through here and choose lots of options to make it look exactly the way that you want it to look. So you just scroll through there and choose the options you want to choose. Again, you can change your fonts, the size, bold, put a photo in if you want your signature to be a photo. There's that option. Make it look exactly how you want. Save changes. And then we open this up. You'll notice at the very end, okay, I stopped a moment to do a little research to see why the signature wasn't showing up. When you go into manage signatures, again, we're going to minimize that. And you come to the part where it says create new, you type in your name, and then you're going to type over here what you want it to look like. However you want your signature line to look. If you put Holly Rader at 123 Street and phone number, whatever you want right there, then you're going to scroll down and save changes. And again, sometime when you have time, go through and look at the other options here because there are a lot. Now, this current email that we're doing, the signature is not going to show up on this one because we've already created it. It's just not going to show up there. So we're going to go ahead and send that like we've sent it on. But you'll notice this is a new one. I just hit compose. Already that signature we just created is there. So these are just a few of the very many things that you can do with Gmail. I hope that you have a little bit better understanding of it at the end of the day. And I hope you have a wonderful week. It's been a lovely class. Take care.